I don't really believe in coincidences, and both of these explosions happened in the same day, or both of these attacks, whatever you want to call them, happened on the same day. The attack and the explosion, which obviously wasn't meant to be an attack. Do you think there was any correlation between him and the New Orleans attack?
No.
I don't either.
I looked at all of that. I looked at the posts. I looked at people are scrambling for news. Everybody wants to post something. They want to be the guy on social media that posts the groundbreaking thing. And I saw all these connections to Fort Bragg, and they deployed together at this time. And it was great. So did 500,000 of the rest of us. I was at Fort Bragg. Oh man, tie me to Delta Force. I must have been part of Delta Force and some side. No, I had nothing to do with them. It's this nonsense. It's a big organization. The Army is very large. You're picking things out and you're trying to make this a thing. That New Orleans guy was a staff sergeant who got out of the active duty Army in 2015, and he was in the reserves until 2020. People are saying in the last year he was radicalized. I talked to multiple of his peers, to include, I'm going to be very, very careful with this, former leadership. I'm not going to give what echelon they were at. Former leadership of his. There was no indication at all back then that he was radicalized. He didn't say radicalized. I've seen the posts. I saw several people who were saying, well, we have confirmed posts that he was saying radical Islamic things. I don't believe it, because nobody he worked with confirmed that. They said, no, we had no indication that he was like this. And if you talk to people now, they said in the last year, he was radicalized. He started taking on these more radical teachings of Islam and everything else. And he had this, he fell into financial hardship and all these other things. So you're telling me this guy who was a former 42 Alpha S1 guy, human resources, pushes your paper, and then an IT guy, 25 Bravo, is somehow connected to a Green Beret team sergeant out of 10th grade? No.
Well, also, they found an ISIS flag in New Orleans,
which
they didn't find any of that here.
I think that might have been just some silliness on his part, trying to take on some kind of Islamic banner of jihad. I would conjecture, all conjecture, say that is likely. He has no affiliations to ISIS. But
I wonder. I don't really believe in coincidences, and both of these explosions happened in the same day, or both of these attacks, whatever you want to call them, happened on the same day. The attack and the explosion, which obviously wasn't meant to be an attack.
That's fair. And I don't believe in coincidences either normally, but I look at a landmark day like January 1st, and I think, what better day? Any day. I'm going to do a thing January 1st.
Yeah.
And I think possibly old boy in New Orleans had help. I don't think that he could have done all the spotting and surveying and assessing himself. He would have likely had to at least had a spotter to say, yeah, you're good to go. Maybe. But I think that's plausible. But other than that, I have a hard time making that connection.
This email, I wonder who else he reached out to. This came in from Dabber GMIB or MLB at protonmail.com. So he was even using an encrypted email service, which I think everybody in intelligence and special operations knows what Proton Mail is.
Yeah. I would imagine if Joe Rogan, Fox News, name some other big names out there, scrub their emails right now, they could probably find a message from this guy.
Yeah.
He came to me because I'm like D-list media. I'm the guy who has kind of a platform on social media, but I'm not big time, but I can kind of get things to the big time every once in a while if it's a big enough story. And that's what he was hoping for. He was just throwing mud at the wall, trying to get somebody to get his message out.
Well, it's going to be big time now.
Yeah.
But